Awesome. We're now recording.
We've never not recorded. So, hello again, everyone. Hello, recording universe. Excited to have you tonight. Let's jump into our announcements.
We don't have any announcement slides.
We don't have any announcement slides?
Well, we can skip to the end. We have announcement slides. Let's do that.
Yeah, I always
All
do
right.
announcements at the beginning.
Well, we've got some fun announcements to share with you as well.
Here's the big one.
Coming soon, Black Swan Fund 3. We do have a property under contract in Tacoma, Washington, and we're hopefully going to have 2 more under contract here in the near future. I mean, working on tons of deals, and they're finally starting to break loose. That's just where we're at in the market cycle, and so we are unbelievably excited to launch Fund 3. So we're going to be on the road here in the coming week and doing due diligence and all that fun stuff, and then Fund 3 coming thereafter.
We are so excited. We get emails, calls, texts, communications literally every single day of folks asking when they can invest in Fund 3. So first of all, thank you all so much for that just humbles us, day in and day out, and really gives pep in our step for the assets that we already have and stewarding that capital very well. And then just practicing restraint through 2023 as interest rates went up, and not buying just for the sake of buying, but really waiting for a deal that just made perfect sense and putting together a business plan that makes sense in the current economic conditions, and all sorts of reasons why our business plan is very safe, because we have no fees. 100% of our profits go back to our partners until they're completely repaid. And now more than ever, people are really hungry for our model. So excited. Like it feels like it's like this thing being born to launch Fund 3. I expect that will come in the next several weeks. So if you want the specific launch date first, just put your name on blackswanfund3.com. We will first open it to folks on our wait list, and then we will open it generally to folks on our mailing list. We'll do our webinar launch, all of those things. Very excited for what we have under contract in Tacoma and what we have cooking here in Rochester. And Fund 3 will kind of go back to what I consider to be really our roots, where we will have both multifamily and single family. It was always the plan that all of our funds would have a mixture of both single family and multifamily because of the different economic variables that they bring to the table. Fund 2 did not get a portfolio of single family homes because interest rates and inventory just really changed the business plan there. Fund 2 has an insanely good menu of assets that we were able to acquire in Fund 2, but we're definitely excited that Fund 3 will have single family homes. They do so well. They rent so well. People love them. It's how our company was born, was with single family homes. So super excited about that. I can't believe you put that at the end. I know I would have been distracted the entire time thinking about how excited I was to announce it.
I usually just kind of focus on the content, and there just weren't any slides at the beginning this time. So
well, there you go.
Also, just a reminder for our real estate real life conference in May 17-19 of 2024. You're coming up in 4 months. We're working on the content every week. We're very excited. Going to be able to tour some new assets we're acquiring here, hopefully. So make sure to sign up right now for real estate real life.
Yeah, this will be our 3rd year. It's just every year it improves. This year, we have this new amazing programming scheduled for Saturday night, which is the Launch Your Legacy portion of our event. And we cooked up a whole new idea, a whole new way to get people deep into that legacy part of their minds and their hearts quickly, deeply, in a life-changing way. Very, very, very excited about that. And then I think probably one of the most exciting things for the tour is we will be done with our new construction of our adaptive reuse at Residence of Discovery Square.
I sure hope so.
So that's a project, like there aren't many of them, in the entire country that are that scale of a retail to residential conversion. And so people will be able to tour those units, and just super excited about that and all of the other tours and all of the things that we've put together for real estate real life. We are also offering a virtual ticket this year. So if your travel schedule does not allow you to come to Rochester, you can still get a great deal of the value of the event, because we will have a virtual stream for the Saturday content and for the Saturday evening content. So either come in person and hang out with us and our team and all sorts of other like-minded folks, or join us virtually.
We're actually just testing out, we're buying our AV equipment right now. So there's a whole DJ sound mixer board sitting next to my computer right now. You can't quite see it over the monitor there, but it feels very legit. We have all these large pieces of AV equipment showing up for our virtual guests for the Real Estate Real Life 2024 conference. Link in the chat there from Rachel. So check it out.
Super excited about those two announcements. If you have any questions, let either myself or Rachel know. We're eager to serve you in our private equity fund offering, coming to Rochester and seeing these assets firsthand, all of the ways that we do that. One of the ways we do that every month is with our community power hour. We love to speak and teach and talk about all sorts of cool stuff that's going on. And certainly, I think artificial intelligence is like the conversation of the 2020s.
Absolutely.
Like humanity is changing as we speak. It's hard to believe that ChatGPT is only about a year old. All of the changes that have already come, all of the changes that are coming. And certainly when I think about artificial intelligence, I think about how the pace of change is really picking up.
Mhm.
So there's always been change in humanity, right? Whether it was when we, first discovered fire or the wheel or whatever, that's the thing about humans, is that we're always growing, we're always changing, but the pace of change is just really accelerating. And so understanding artificial intelligence and its role in the change in society, how it can really impact your personal life, your professional life, how you can have a ton of fun with it. So I just did my 10-year and my 3-year vivid visions. And I was like, it's like this 19-page Word document. I'm like, this isn't like a vision, right? A vision should have like a picture to go with it. Back in the olden days, I would have cut up, things from magazines or those sorts of things. In more recent years, I've just done like Google image search for various things, and I'll put that in next to my vision, or maybe pull out some pictures of our family or those sorts of things. But I actually went to ChatGPT, to Dolly, the image creator, and worked with it for about 30 minutes, putting in various snippets of my vision. And then it gave me back pictures of our family and our real estate empire and our house. And it was like really interesting. It was quite motivating. Like I could like see myself in the images. So we're going to do some demonstrations tonight. We want you to play along so that you can get things that are applicable to your own life. Let's dive in. Keep chat very active. This is also, we have kind of a smaller group here tonight. So certainly if there's something you just want to ask out loud, I just checked our securities permissions. You can just unmute yourself and just ask. So either ask in chat or just unmute yourself and ask, and we'll make this a very interactive night tonight.
Yeah, let's dive in. So I have a background in technology. I had the privilege to lead 13 teams of engineers, software engineers in my kind of terminal technical role, serving the executive leadership team for the Mayo Clinic. So I enjoy doing technology stuff and have a little bit of kind of technical expertise to share there. We're not going to get too deep into the weeds on technology, but just a few things here. So what is AI? I think people have been calling AI, calling things AI, giving it kind of an inappropriate label for a long time. There's lots of different definitions out there, but basically it's just teaching computers how to think and specifically how to learn like humans. So the latest generation of AI that you've seen probably in the last 18 months or so, what really sets it apart is its ability to learn. So in the past, applied or simple artificial intelligence, humans had to teach it how to do things. So think you go to a piece of software that helps you troubleshoot a problem, and you give it like a keyword or something, and it gives you like a troubleshooting tree to go through. Well, humans wrote that troubleshooting tree. And in the most recent version of advanced or general AI, those machines are able to teach themselves. So you can think of generative AI or chat GPT. When you go to like type something and your cell phone or Gmail might suggest like the next word or the next sentence, you can kind of think of chat GPT as that on steroids, times like a depth of 1 billion. That's basically all the technology is, but the key thing is it can constantly look at your interactions with it conversationally to figure out where it's making the errors, and it can self-correct, and it continue to look at the human conversation, scraping social media feeds and websites to figure out how it can refine its abilities to appear as though it's a human, which is the Turing test. We'll talk about that in just a second. It's a popular topic in culture right now. There's a lot of people that are kind of talking about how dangerous AI is. AI is very dangerous and is something that we should absolutely be talking about. And it's important that you understand just a few basics about AI. So feel free to pop questions in the chat as we're going through here. We're trying to keep this, very, very high level, not get too deep into the weeds with
Very
these
much
basic.
AI 101 for
Yes.
sure. I'd be interested to hear in chat as we're early in our presentation, just some simple things like, are you using AI in your world, and whether it's personally, professionally? How often is Chat GPT a part of your, daily habit? Do you use it the way, you say you might use Google? I'd love to just see in chat, like, are you using artificial intelligence, at least once per month, let's say? Can I just get like some yeses and nos? I have an almost daily. While you guys are popping that into chat so that Nick and I can see that can help us tailor our presentation, I'm just mesmerized by this swan. It's just so beautiful and captivating. And it was made by a computer in like a few seconds. It's just crazy. Probably weekly right now, a few times a week, once a
On
week.
average, about once a week, it seems like right now.
I use AI to draft emails for reminders. Very good. I use AI in my personal and professional life, maybe once a week. I use it daily, not using it, but would like to almost daily. This is very interesting. So when we did real estate, real life in September, which I have every reason to believe that cohort is basically, exactly the same as this cohort in terms of like male, female breakdown, average household income, demographics, all the things. That group was only a few of them were using AI.
Maybe we've inspired them all to start using AI since Real Estate Real Life 2023.
Maybe if you were at Real Estate Real Life, maybe put it in chat or just send me a private message or something. I'd be curious to know that. I have to think that it's just that 4 more months have passed and the uptake that, ChatGPT was the fastest uptake of any internet app ever. Just a stat.
Any technology in human history.
Yeah. So this is very interesting. Almost daily. I love it for travel planning and shopping. I too love it for travel planning. Use it to write things I can't find the right words to say, not using. Very good. Okay, awesome. Well, that's helpful.
That prompts us for some quality questions. So something to just kind of prime you as we start to dig into some of this material and some of these exercises here. So how could you go from using Google or kind of legacy internet applications to using artificial intelligence? Whenever you Google search something, think to yourself, is this something that I could ask Chat GPT? What are some topics that you've wanted to research or feel like you haven't had the time? We were just watching the Snow Society movie on
Society of the Snow.
Society of Snow, and Elaine was like reading the Wikipedia. Maybe that's something we could have asked Chat GPT about, just as an example there. How can you incorporate AI into your daily life? It's something that you really want to make a daily discipline. This is such a fast moving and critical tool. You want to make sure you're sharpening your knowledge, your understanding, that you use that tool daily. We're about to talk why this is so impactful, why we're sharing this with you today. So maybe jot down, why is this important to you? The why is everything, right? The how will figure itself out once you have a sufficient why. So why is it so important for you to understand AI, to use AI daily? How can your life be improved by it? And we love talking about your asymmetric advantage. What's something that you can do, a combination of rare and valuable skills you have, connections you have, that you can use in conjunction with AI that can give you an asymmetric advantage, an advantage over other people that you know that competitors in your space aren't using AI, or a way that you can interface with your subordinates or supervisors in your kind of corporate hierarchy, the way you can serve your customers better by using these tools. How can this give you a huge advantage? So hopefully those questions are kind of floating around in your brain and you're jotting some things down as we go through some of these exercises here.
Any thoughts there that you all want to share in chat? I particularly like how could you transfer using Google to instead using artificial intelligence? I think that's a really nice segue into either starting to use artificial intelligence on a routine basis or increasing the amount. Jamie's using it as a snow day chance predictor. I had not considered that.
Yeah,
very interesting. Rachel's using it completely for fun. It's very entertaining to prompt ChatGPT to write a Hallmark movie script about your life. I too am using it as a sort of fun. I have to think of a way to say this without sounding crazy, but I will put in, like, I write journal entries to myself, and then I will put it into ChatGPT and ask it to summarize it back to me. And I almost feel like it's like a form of like seeing into my subconscious mind of like, what are the themes here? So it's for fun. Very interesting.
Well, ChatGPT is very much a mirror into yourself. It's very good at mirroring you, mirroring your language, imitating your language, understanding what matters to you, what you think about. So when you see something in ChatGPT, it's a mirror into yourself.
Absolutely.
So why does this matter so much? This is a really simple concept to understand. Most things in life, most political events, most geopolitical events, news that you see on CNN or whatever, uh, there's a small delta in how it impacts you and how it impacts like the human race. And it's not a big delta. Things kind of shift from good to bad, and the thing about AI is it has these very divergent outcomes. And things could be either really good, we could become immortal beings that are uploaded into computers, and so our physical bodies can go away. We become spiritual built beings living in a digital sentience or something like that. Or many people might predict we become extinct, that we create something that comes to destroy its creator. And those are both completely possible, even likely outcomes. And there's very few things like that exist in the world today. Even
I just came up with a meta idea.
what's that?
While we're doing our chat GPT, we need to have it teach us about the Fermi paradox.
So I had to cut myself off because we're trying to keep the slides. I really wanted to have a slide on the Fermi
We'll
paradox
have
here.
chat GPT teach us.
Okay. Okay, we'll do that in a demo. So this is why this is such a big deal. Like even nuclear weapons are relatively unlikely to create the extinction of the human species. It would be a really bad time for like 1,000 years, but it's very unlikely they'll extinguish the human species. It's pretty likely that one of these two outcomes will happen, which is a crazy thing to internalize. Does this make sense to everyone?
How do you all feel? Do you feel like AI is moving us toward a place, and let's not even necessarily get into like the extremes of extinction or immortality, but just in your gut, there's no right or wrong. Do you feel like AI is moving us in a worse direction as a species or in a better direction? I'd love to see some thoughts there. I honestly don't know which outcome is more scary. I agree. We're definitely in a place of rapid change.
This seems maybe implausible to y'all. We have another slide here in a moment to show you why we're in this crazy situation that we're in. So we are on the verge of what's called the singularity. This is an event that's been predicted for probably 15 years now. As compute power gets powerful enough, we get to a place where it's possible for computers to become smarter than people. And so we've got this very fun, playful chart. If you go to waitbutwhy.com, there's a great, very long, kind of read you can have on the Fermi paradox and on artificial intelligence and other things. So we've stolen a couple of their graphics here inside our source. There's, a huge gap in intelligence between an ant, a bird, a chimpanzee, and a human. We think of ourselves as being, way more intelligent than those animals. And you can think about how in the not so distant past, computers were not that much more intelligent than an ant. So maybe like circa 1985, 1990, computers were about as intelligent as an ant. Computers probably took on bird-like intelligence maybe in the early 2000s, somewhere in that territory. They probably got chimp-like intelligence in like the late 2010s, somewhere around there. And in the last 12 months, computers have approximated human intelligence. And the gap between like the least intelligent human and the most intelligent human, it's not a very big gap. So what that means is computers will probably start to become more intelligent than humans like right now, like in the immediate future. So you can see there's this gap, this teeny tiny gap between Einstein and a dumb human. And the way exponential growth curves work is it took us a really long time to go from a mechanical adding machine to a computer using an integrated circuit and transistors to a computer that has ant-like intelligence. And then the race to go from a bird to a chimp to a human to something smarter than a human is a really, really, really tiny amount of time, relatively speaking, and something that's very shocking to witness. This is how all exponential growth happens. And the real turning point here was when a computer could finally pass the Turing test. So this is a test devised by Dr. Alan Turing half a century ago. And he said, this is the test. This is the test for when we are approaching the singularity, when a computer is as smart as a human being. It's a very simple test. You chat through a computer interface with two partners. one computer, one partner is a computer, the other partner is a human. And when you can't tell the difference between the human and the computer, that's when the singularity is near. And that just happened. That just happened like in the last 12 months or so with the advent of Chat GPT.
Why don't you define for people what the singularity is? I know when you taught that to me, many years ago, that's become like a daily part of our, just consciousness. We talk about the singularity all the time. Why don't you explain that?
So in space-time,
It's so fun for me, by the way, guys. I live in Nick, the real estate world, but our early marriage was Nick, the tech guy. So this is like so fun for me. It's like the early years of our marriage again. Thank you for the privilege.
Absolutely. So in space-time, a singularity is a super massive object, an object that has such extreme mass that it bends space and time around it. In fact, light can't even, pass around or through a singularity. Everything is pulled in. It's such a huge thing. And as a result, you can't see on the other side of a singularity. There's just a black hole basically. And the only way theoretically you could figure out, what's on the other side of a singularity is to pass through it. So if you ever seen like Interstellar, that's a human being going through a singularity or a tesseract, there's a few different kind of mixed concepts there. In the, so that's a concrete thing that exists in space-time. And for probably a good at least 15 years now, technologists have predicted what's called a technological singularity. So using a concept called Moore's law, where computers double in horsepower about every 18 months and global compute power grows at a somewhat predictable rate, we're able to project out like how powerful do computers need to be before they're able to surpass human intelligence? Not just the intelligence of one human, but the intelligence of every human and eventually every human combined. And you have this kind of super intelligence. And it's a very predictable event in technology because you can see how fast compute power was growing. And when that happens, when there's a new species that we've created, it is such a hugely impactful thing that it's impossible for us to know what life looks like on the other side. People have theorized about that in science fiction with like 2001: A Space Odyssey or Terminator and Skynet, where the machines kill all the humans, and that's an entirely likely outcome. When a more advanced species encounters a less advanced species, the less advanced species tends to be dominated or wiped out by the more advanced species. That's just how nature works. It doesn't matter if it's synthetic life or real life. So for a very long time, you can go read the book, The Singularity is Near. And this book was written over a decade ago by someone who, accurately predicted the rise of email, chat, social media. And you can see that we have a really good idea about what is about to happen. And we have no clue what it's like on the other side. Maybe superintelligence is born and says, hey, I figured out that God is real, and here's the logical syllogism that proves the existence of God. Or it turns out that aliens, seeded the earth with DNA, and so y'all are actually, the great-grandchildren of aliens. Or here's the source of limitless energy, and there's no more poverty or crime or any human suffering. We have no idea what life looks like on the other side of the singularity, but we know it's really close. We know it's probably less than 10 years away, somewhere in that territory, because we've passed the Turing test. This was an event that was foretold half a century ago, and it's happening in real time.
Oh, you've been telling me this for like 10 years and it still gives me chills.
It happens.
Nick and I talk about this how often? Like once a week? I'm like, when's the singularity coming? How many more years do I have left? And all the things.
We have to plan for it.
I love it. I love talking about this.
So we talked about something that's really abstract. Let's talk about something that's terrifyingly concrete. So if you rewind the clock about 6 months, the war in Ukraine that I personally just read a lot about because I think it's the most important thing happening on Earth right now. There was this arms race that happened where Ukrainians would attach, anti-tank charges to inexpensive consumer-grade drones, and then like fly them into Russian tanks, and the Russians would do the same, fly them into Ukrainian tanks. And then they developed electronic warfare countermeasures to jam the signals of the drones so that the controllers can't fly them into the tanks. And then one day, the Ukrainians said, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to use artificial intelligence to fly our drones for the last mile. We're going to pick out a target, and in fact, we're going to write software. The Ukrainians are exceptionally good software engineers. The Ukrainians did most of the innovating for the USSR. So if you're in the tech world, it's common for you to hire engineers, software engineers in Ukraine because they're exceptionally skilled software engineers. And so they wrote AI to target Russian infantry and Russian infantry fighting vehicles, tanks, and to go autonomously destroy them. So robots, artificial intelligence, are in fact killing people, like 1,000 people a day right now in real time. So that was an AI generated image in that slide there of artificial intelligence, identifying a tank, identifying personnel. And so the operator no longer has to control the drone. You can jam the drone, but the drone is going to autonomously go kill people. That happened really fast, like way faster than I think most people predicted. It happened within probably about 6 months of the technology existing, that someone had immediately applied it to machines killing people. So this is a really important thing for us to understand. Let's think about this in a more impactful sense here, because that might seem like a small scale thing, but the idea of robots autonomously killing people, that's a really big deal. Here's what Vladimir Putin, the almost cartoon-like villain of our day, here's what he says about AI. Artificial intelligence is the future, not only for Russia, but all humankind. It comes with colossal opportunities, but also threats that are difficult to predict. Whoever becomes the leader in this sphere will become the ruler of the world. So this is the person who we really hope does not get control of this force, just very, flagrantly saying, this is the future. This is the future, and it's unfolding in real time. So let's talk about immediate impact to you. You're probably not driving a Russian tank around right now, so you're not worried about AI killing you today, though it might, pose a threat to you here in the next year or two. Like, it's really soon, probably not to your life, but to your job. This is going to be just like when computers and the internet were invented. People said that like accountants were going to go out of business, like they'd all lose their jobs. Well, that's ridiculous. So today, a accountant has to know how to use spreadsheet software and needs to know how to use a computer. If you're an accountant who said, no, I'm a pen and paper kind of person, well, you didn't get to keep your job for very long. You went out of business really fast. It's going to be the same way for any high level knowledge worker. So if you are in, the medical field, legal, finance, accounting, any high level knowledge profession where your job is to assemble and distribute knowledge, if you are not using AI, you will not have a job for very long, like a few years. It's going to happen in the blink of an eye, unbelievably fast. One, kind of ray of hope I have here is that, as far as I can tell, this is not a divisive thing. So it's not red versus blue, or coastal versus Midwestern, or anything like that. Like we see in our kind of common consciousness a lot as Americans. This is just a good thing. It's a good thing for the U.S. It's going to have a huge positive impact on our biggest industries. It's going to be a huge boon, not just for high level knowledge workers, but even for blue collar workers. Blue collar workers have seen their wages grow more in the last 3 years than they have in the last century. And that's going to continue to grow because AI will empower those workers to go out and do a lot more productive work. It will unlock them. Like literally today, we had a training session for all of our maintenance team to use AI to do self-scheduling, so our tenants can schedule their own maintenance appointments. Think about how much more work our maintenance staff can get done, which ultimately is going to result in them earning higher wages. This is going to be a challenge for entry-level knowledge workers. Think of people working in a call center, receptionists, data analysts, data processing folks, and that's going to be really challenging for countries like India or the Philippines that kind of rely on those professions a lot. And it's going to be devastating for China that has a lot of fear around this technology and hasn't really locked down. AI is borderline illegal in China right now, and they are potentially going to get left behind as a result.
Do you want to do our first demo here
to
really, this is going to be exciting, you guys.
Good.
Here, Nick and I will switch spots.
Okay.
Which is super weird. I always stand on the right, but can stand on the left.
What demo do we want to do?
Airtable.
Okay.
That one.
Okay. So this is something called air.ai. So anyone here can go to air.ai. You are about to hear.
We need to go to here. Share sound.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So give me a thumbs up if you can hear this audio. It's not arguing. Oh, there, I just didn't give enough time.
Hey, James.
You guys can hear that? So this is ChatGPT talking to someone, doing an outbound sales call. And the human who received this call did not know that this was AI calling.
Yeah, no worries. I hate calls out of the blue too. But I'm actually from Apple, and I saw you were checking out Vision Pro and were about to pre-order but left the page.
Dude, I
was curious, what had you looking into potential? Okay, I can respect that. Can I just ask one question before you go?
Fine, shoot. What's up?
Why did you decide not to pre-order the Vision Pros? I saw you changed your mind last minute.
Because they are crazy expensive. I'm gonna get the Meta Quest instead.
I get it. But you saw what happened to Threads, right? Do you think the Meta Quest will end up being a better product than the Vision Pros? Or is it just the price?
I mean, it's mainly about price. I'm sure the Vision Pros are gonna be better, but
So you can see he's starting to sell him on the product, right? Like has humor, has empathy. There's a little bit of like a delay because it needs to convert the other person talking, their voice to chat or chat GPT, then to formulate a response. But this is a product that was just born here, like in the last few weeks. We're investigating using it for like outbound calls to find, sellers and stuff like that for properties. What do
Has
y'all think
anyone
about
seen this
this?
before?
Yeah, what do y'all think about
Let
this?
me get back to my righteous right spot. Who has seen this? Okay, whoa, the chuckle is unnerving. I agree.
Isn't that crazy? Like you could get a call right now, and there is no way you could know if that's a human that's giving you a call on the other end of the line or if that's Chat GPT. That like this technology could blow up your phone in a matter of months.
Oh, someone got one of these calls today. Interesting.
I mean, like what's going to happen? Like we're going to have a reCAPTCHA technology where you can authenticate your humanness when you start a phone call. Like in the not so distant future, that's going to need to be the case. The singularity, you can feel we're right at the fringes of the singularity.
That was our first demo. There are more demos to come. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. I know my mind is like always just blown when I look at these things. It's hard to comprehend.
Yep. Let's talk about social media. So these AI algorithms, they are already dominating social media. So if you go to Twitter, for example, and I could pull up an example here, but it might take a second. It doesn't take very much scrolling for you to get to an advertisement for a product. And it has a video and photos about how amazing this product is. And all it is a company that's created, they drop ship from Alibaba. So they take a product that already exists and then they charge double for it, and they put up an ad on Twitter, and it's kind of like taking over Twitter. They've bought 1 million ads, and so there's like community content, notes on Twitter saying, "Watch out, this is an AI generated video. Like there's people, there's the product, and it's all completely generated by AI, showing how amazing this product is. But it's not a real company. It's a real product, but it's a drop ship product. They don't actually make the product." So you're going to see a huge amount of that. Like that's the most innocuous thing I could possibly imagine of you buying an overpriced product that has really slick marketing. You're going to see a situation where AI could potentially generate like the majority of content on social media. I mean, we use AI to do like initial drafts on our social media content. I think pretty much everyone does. But you can see AI generating fake news, having basically an adverse impact on the public consciousness. This is something that Russia has always been a master at. They spend 90% of their like espionage budget on misinformation. So the U.S. spends 90% of their budget on data collection, and the Soviet Union spent 90% of their budget on data on false information propagation. And so this is an incredible tool. It's a proven fact that those forces interfered with our elections when Trump was elected, and it's going to be a really interesting thing what happens in the 2024 elections, and this will play out in social media. Now, AI could be used to defeat those same mechanisms as well, but we don't know. We're going to find out here very soon.
How do I know you guys here are real?
You don't.
We came before AI. We've been doing this for years. That's why we're real. We came before the singularity. Our jokes are also really good. It's a good question, though.
Talking about advertising. So this one's pretty interesting to me. Dynamic pricing. I suspect you're going to start seeing way more dynamic pricing in your world. Like if you use an Apple you pay a higher price for airline tickets than if you use a PC. If you live in a different part of the country or a different part of the world, you pay a lower price. Hotels are famous for dynamic pricing, but I think you might see more dynamic pricing kind of throughout your life. I'm sure you're familiar with that eerie feeling of you're like talking to someone about something like, hey, I really ought to get like a baby blanket for my friend. They're having a baby shower. You don't type it into a computer, you just speak it out loud, and all of a sudden you see an ad for a baby blanket on your phone. Your phone really does listen to you. It has a co-processor for picking up. It's always listening to you. So that's not, you're not crazy. Imagine that times times a billion. I mean, that's where we're headed with ChatGPT and the current generation of generative AI. You've probably heard of the anecdotes about how Target knows you're pregnant before you do, because it can they are so acutely skilled at surveilling your behaviors. Like, you used to buy a lot of chips, you stop buying chips because you have nausea, and then you start buying bananas. Well, they know that's the pattern of behavior that means you're pregnant, and you don't buy a pregnancy test until 2 weeks later. But you already have banner ads on your phone from Target saying, would you like to come buy a pregnancy test? Again, imagine that like creepy effect times a billion, when your computer knows your menstrual cycle better than you do. That's the world that we actively live in right now. Democracy, we talked about this for a moment. We try to steer clear of politics, but this is going to be a huge thing. This is going to be the front page of CNN every day towards the latter half of this year. What is real? I'm sure you've seen deep fakes and stuff that are propagated on social media, and knowing, authoritative sources, have they actually vetted whether or not this is truly real news, that's real content. It's going to be incredibly difficult to figure out. So again, these tools can be used to prevent election fraud and misinformation and people sabotaging our democracy, but it can also be used to perpetrate those same things. So this is not like some sci-fi futuristic thing. Like, you just heard the air.ai demo. Like, this is a real thing that's happening right now that you need to make sure you're aware of. We're gonna make this very personal here.
I remember in the last election, there was a thing that went around on Facebook. So keep in mind, this was like pre-AI, right? Because this would have been about 4 years ago. And it was basically like, I don't know, 10 or 12 profiles you to rank if you thought they were real or if they were a bot. And most people, myself included, could not do it.
Mm-hmm.
And even after teaching, they were just still so subtle. And I just think about that, but then coupled with of AI, and then the speed at which that stuff can get out because a human's not creating it now. Like, there's just so many variables that are pushing in the, like, this river is coming of misinformation, potential misinformation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, going back to that slide of, it can take us in these two really divergent directions, right? Immortality versus extinction, and then all of the things along that way, right? When it's put in the hands of people that want to solve world hunger or poverty or get education to women, or whatever the project is, it will accelerate that mission. And when it's put in the hands of people with the opposite mission, it will accelerate that mission.
Absolutely. Yep. So a lot of people hear all these, like, I don't know, potentially doom and gloom things, and their reaction is to maybe stick their head in the sand. We don't think that's the right thing to do. So how do you set yourself up for success in the face of one of the fastest changes, the fastest shifts that have ever happened in the history of the human race? So first of all, stay curious, stay out of judgment. Don't walk around grumbling. Gosh, I remember when you could pick up the phone and know there's a human being or a recording on the other end of the line, and not this weird gray area of I can't tell.
I'll be honest, this is like a little hard for me. It may be unbelievable to people because I've trained myself to stay. When I had a car and Nick was like, I want to sell your car and get you a nicer car. And we like fought about it for like 2 years. I was like, I love my car. I know exactly how it drives. I know exactly what the center console is like and where I put all my things. And like, I don't know if any of you have had that experience, but Nick's always like trying to get me new cell phones. And I'm like, no, please don't. Please, you would serve me so well if you just
getting you a new cell phone in 2 days and you're going to hate me for it.
When ChatGPT came, there was just this like intuition within just a few days.
You led the charge with ChatGPT. Like, you were much more an earlier adopter of that technology than I've been.
Yeah, it just was so, I was alive for the internet, but I was quite young. And there've been other things in my life, like say like an iPhone where I was like, I don't know if I need that and all these things. And I just saw Chat GPT and I instantly knew, maybe it's because I do so much writing in my day-to-day work, or I'm not sure what it was. And then it was the fastest uptick of any technology ever in human history. And I think because it's so magnificent. Like it's such a joy
Yes.
to work with, right? Like maybe first learning how to use the internet was like a little clunky or, or something like that. But you just see the product of AI right in front of your eyes. And then you can start to brainstorm, okay, I can try this, or I could do this, or what about this thing? Or here's a task that I don't like to do. Could I have Chat GPT do a lot of it for me? Or could it improve? Or
Absolutely. It's this is what we do in every aspect of our life as we lean in. Like we didn't like how capitalism was looking these days. Like private equity is gobbling everything up in this value extraction kind of model. So we could, go complain about it on social media, or we could do something about it. So we launched a private equity fund that was different, that was predicated on a totally different model. And it's changing capitalism in some small way. So like if you don't like this stuff, go get involved, lean in. The only way you can make a change is to be the change. So stay curious about these things and learn the tools.
I'm fascinated at how much more this group is using AI than our group in September, which I have every reason to believe they're basically two cross sections of the same group. That's very interesting.
One person just had a question: how can we learn the tools? They're a good resource. So I think the best way to learn something is to immerse yourself in the common consciousness for that thing. So I subscribe to a few like AI feeds,
and we're going to do demos.
Yeah, we're going to do demos.
A few minutes.
So just get around people who are using the tool, and AI is a great tool that it's very usable. So it's very user friendly, very easy to get started. We're gonna use these tools every day when we get done here. And just a few quality questions there before you do a task. Just ask yourself, can AI do it better? And think about how you can use these tools to totally change your day-to-day personal and professional life, because these tools can do that. So let's pull up Chat GPT, and we're going to do like a little bit of demo, and we're going to go through some fun exercises. So we hope that y'all are in like on a computer, on a phone, where you can do this with us. So make sure you go sign up for Chat GPT if you haven't already. So we're going to do
chat.openai.com. That's
Yep.
Chat GPT. Highly recommend the paid version, especially over the last, like even just couple of weeks. They've added so many interesting additional tools to the paid version that really makes it worth it. I think it's about $20 per month.
And it's a pittance for the value you get there, but the free version is still life-changing. We're going to start with some really simple, really fun ones. So while we're going, let's do some meal planning, but let's maybe have a little bit of fun with it.
Go for it.
So I just before our presentation, I went and just looked for random photos on my cell phone, and I found this photo of myself going to the store with my 4 children and buying a bunch of food. And so I'm going to say I have 4 small children, and I just bought this food in the photo at the store. What should I make with it? So this is kind of a classical, I don't know, you've heard this example before. So this is just a picture of the trunk of our car.
You baby.
He doesn't look like a baby anymore. He looks like a grown up. There's some kind of seems like it got fruits and some packaged snacks. Like that's spot on, right? So it's got mostly fruit and some packaged snacks there.
Make it bigger.
Yeah. So Chat GPT, you can upload photos, you can upload PDFs, things that are text heavy, it does the best with. Photos, it does okay, but not absolutely amazing. And here it's giving us some food ideas for children. Children are hard to feed. So Chat GPT is amazing at ideation, at coming up with ideas. It's not very good on accuracy. So imagine you have this really smart, creative friend who is drunk. And that's basically the persona of Chat GPT. Always happy to come up with some creative new ideas for you, but they may not necessarily be spot on. You have to kind of curate the finished product. So this is a really simple way to do it. You could alternatively just type in the ingredients that you have. Here's what I've got in my fridge or whatever. What are some recipes?
Yeah, so I might type in, you can see it down there in the bottom. You want to read it while I'm typing?
Our family is working at eating a more whole foods based diet. Please give me 5 recipes that I can make in just one pot or pan. in less than 20 minutes that are whole food based. Ideally, most veggies and contain minimal to no processed foods. Ingredients. And you can see it's pretty peppy. If you get the paid version, it's faster than the free version. Free version is still fast enough though.
So you can see here as it's coming up with these things, it's a very similar experience to Google, right? I could have typed, you know, easy 20-minute one pot whole food recipes into Google, and it would have come up with some similar things. Google may actually have been a little bit better right now because Google might have had some images at the top that, oh, that one looks appetizing, I'm going to try that. But you can work with this in a way that you can't with Google. Like, for example, I might be able to, you know, maybe I'm allergic to garlic. So I'm seeing, oh, they just mentioned garlic in there. I can then tell it, hey, these are great recipes, but someone in my family is allergic to garlic. Can you give me 5 additional recipes that don't have garlic in them? So the thing that I like most about Chat GPT as opposed to Google is that you can have a conversation with it by just continuing to chat with it, giving it feedback. I really liked this recipe. I didn't like this one. I have a plethora of chicken at home. Can you include chicken in a lot of these recipes? Although I did just tell it to do mostly veggies, but just examples there that it's a little harder to do that on Google. On Google, you have to do a lot of that processing in your own mind. You might have to think, okay, well, you know what? I have all those chicken breasts in the freezer. Let me go and search for one pot, 20-minute, healthy recipes with chicken breast. Whereas ChatGPT does a lot of that thinking for you.
So I said, I like all of its suggestions. So it gave us like a list of ingredients, recipes, how to make them. And I said, please give me a list of ingredients to take to the store. And so it's going to combine all those. And you could even say something like, could you give me a spreadsheet version of that? Could you, put it in a more succinct form I can easily read on my smartphone? Cooking for 2 adults and 4 children. One other thing about this is Google is really reliant on outside websites. So if you go to research a recipe on Google, I don't know about you, but when I was trying to make some like organic homemade mac and cheese, and I got taken to a site that was actually a trap by Nestle Corporation to steer you into thinking that it was hard to cook at home and you should buy Stouffer's. And here's a coupon to go buy Stouffer's mac and cheese. I actually had to click through 3 links before I found an actual recipe, and that recipe I had to scroll about 20 pages to get the recipes. There's a bunch of ads kind of buried in that website. I'm sure you've had that experience before where Google gives you exactly what you're looking for, but then the content provider, behind that outbound link from Google is got some kind of bait and switch, or they've kind of buried the lead in some way. So you have to go scrounging through their website to find it. And you don't typically have that problem with ChatGPT because the content is just there. So it's not just its ability to organize and curate information, it's to deliver it succinctly without like the bait and switch experience you sometimes have when you're searching with Google.
So if you're kind of watching along, I asked it to give me the specific quantities, right? Because we all know if you go to the grocery store and it says like get broccoli and soy sauce and rice, you go home, you have too much of one thing, not enough of the other. So I asked it to give me quantities, and then I asked it, the doctor part of my brain turned on. So I said, are any of these recipes bad choices for someone with diabetes? And now it's giving me very specific guidance, such as whole wheat pasta is a better option than white pasta because it has more fiber and a lower glycemic index. However, it still needs to be consumed in moderation. Portion control is key, on and on. You can read that there. So you can see how you can have this conversation. And there's like services that have existed for many years around like meal planning, shopping list preparation, having, plant-based recipes, having more protein heavy recipes, cooking for large groups, cooking for small groups. Like a lot of that, like those services will need to think about how they step up their service offering, because you can get so much of that information from ChatGPT tailored to yourself. You can ask, like if there is someone in your family with diabetes, or there's an allergy or whatever, in a way that's so much more personalized than you might be able to do in, say, an app. An app might have something that gives you maybe select the common allergens like peanuts or something like that. Like I don't want any recipes with peanuts, but ChatGPT, you can be very, very, very personalized. So let's kind of pause there. Are people using ChatGPT like this? Have you seen this before? Are you using this in, say, your weekly or daily life? Was this new to you? I'd love to get, could ChatGPT order these groceries for you?
So there's a couple plugins that are evolving that
That's an
allows
interesting one.
ChatGPT to call APIs from other websites like Instacart. So I'm not aware of a way to do that like immediately
I
in a
don't
way
think
today
so
that I
either, but
trust.
I'm asking.
But I bet you can do that within 6 months at the maximum.
Oh, it's telling me how to download Instacart, create an account. I agree that this is coming.
So yeah, ChatGPT has the ability to make outbound API calls, and that's a new feature, which means ChatGPT can like run software, and it'll be a pretty trivial feature for it to place orders on Instacart. And since that's a monetization thing, they can make money off of that. That will be a very high priority feature. It's just giving AI that capability is a mildly dangerous capability. So they've been, I would say, holding back on that a little bit.
Let's do some travel planning. So I do a ton of travel planning. I've used ChatGPT for most of my travel planning since
There was a question of is there an app? So yes, there is an app right there, and you can talk to it. So do you want to just as a quick demo to show them what that would look like?
To travel plan on my phone.
Yep. So I love talking to ChatGPT. I actually prefer talking to it to typing.
What's the button?
So I just, hey, ChatGPT, I would like to book a trip, do an Alaskan cruise, one way from Vancouver to Anchorage through the Inside Passage. What are places I should stop? What kind of itinerary should I look for? What are some tips for someone who's looking at booking an Alaskan cruise? That's it. So you can kind of like ramble a little bit, and it does super well. So it's saying for an Alaskan cruise from Vancouver to Anchorage, consider stops like Ketchikan, Juneau, and Skagway. Look for itineraries with glacier viewing and wildlife excursions. Tips: pack layers, bring binoculars for wildlife spotting, and book shore excursions in advance for popular activities. And if you want to, you could just drill down. You could just talk to it conversationally, like, "Great, okay, can you give me a more specific itinerary, or what cruise lines operate in that area?" So it's very easy to talk to Chat GPT, and like your voice to text accuracy need not be very good. ChatGPT compensates for that really effectively. And then it will save these conversations in ChatGPT so you can go into the website later to like go get that, like let's say you have something that's like Excel spreadsheet detailed that you want to then manipulate on a computer. So I find that ChatGPT ideation is really good on the phone. I mean, you can talk to it on your computer too with a microphone on your computer, but it's very powerful to just talk to it on the phone for doing ideation like that.
All right, so this is a real trip. So I'm just in the bottom of our chat here with ChatGPT on the screen that we're sharing. I'm going to Atlanta in the 3rd week of February with myself, a grown woman, and my 3 children, an 8-year-old girl, a 6-year-old boy, and a 4-year-old boy. What are the top 5 things that we must do in Atlanta that are special to that area and good for children? So again, you can kind of get some sense of, you could search for that on Google and it would take you to like TripAdvisor or Yelp or something like that. ChatGPT is a little bit different because you can be in conversation with it. So let's see what it says. Visiting Atlanta with children, there are several attractions that stand out. The aquarium, the zoo, the world of Coca-Cola. I was hoping it would give me that one.
Nah.
Atlanta Botanical Gardens and Center for Puppetry Arts. Very interesting. These attractions provide a blend of education, fun, and unique offerings. So then I might say that I give ChatGPT a lot of praise for some reason. I said, that sounds good. Thank you.
I think it treats.
I want ChatGPT to be nice to me.
That's very nice to me.
The botanical gardens sound really good. How much time should I spend there? Sorry, I can't type. What is the cost? What is the best restaurant nearby for young children? I also would like a nearby playground that we can stop at after our time at the gardens. Can you please build an itinerary for me for that day? So see how this is that I might be able to say, what are the top 5 places I need to go in Atlanta with my children? But building an itinerary is getting outside of the scope of what Google might be able to do. Let's see what it says. Is this interesting for you guys? Is this fun? Are you doing this in your daily life? Is this new to you? Do you have ChatGPT fired up for your own self, planning your own trips and your own meals? I'd love to hear some feedback from you guys. We want to make sure this is interesting to you and that we're right on the line of, if this is new, we want to kind of stay here. If you're already doing this, we can dive into some deeper stuff.
I have some great questions coming in. We'll get to as many of those as we can.
All right, so it's telling me that the garden is spread across 30 acres, lots of plants. There's a children's garden. Because I have children, I should extend my visit to about 2 hours. There's a cafe. Entry is free for children under 3. It's open from 9 to 7. It gave me the price. The garden actually has its own restaurant. So that's an interesting piece of information that I might not have known. And then for a nearby playground, I can go to Piedmont Park, which is adjacent. It's an ideal spot to play. So there is my itinerary: morning, late afternoon, afternoon. Does Piedmont Park have swings and other equipment? Or is it more like a grassy field type park?
It's not done yet. Still giving us a detailed itinerary. That's pretty good. And you can see that it stuck to its recommended schedule in the itinerary that it crafted.
Are you able to read it? Is it going slow enough that you can read along with what it's saying there? So it said 9 a.m., arrive, 11:30, enjoy lunch. At 1, head over to Piedmont Park. At 3 p.m., depending on the kid's energy, I feel like it's so sophisticated. It understands me so well. Continue to enjoy Piedmont Park with a picnic or begin to wind down the day. And then at 4 o'clock, we'll leave. Piedmont does have a playground facility. That's really important. Nick and I do a ton of Google searching for parks, and a playground and a park are 2 very different things.
That's right. And it gives you all these outbound links too. So I did a quick search that takes you to Bing, because this is Microsoft technology, for Piedmont Park. Somewhere up here it had another search too. I'm kind of curious what this is. Atlanta Botanical Garden visit duration and ticket prices. So it's telling you, how it scraped the data, because sometimes it's not quite accurate on when it quotes you like a price or something like that. So it encourages you to do an outbound search, which I think is extraordinarily helpful. There's a powerful demo I want to do,
Go for it.
and then we'll do some of these questions here. So
I can't wait to go to Atlanta.
for me,
5 more weeks.
the singularity is when I don't have to do my own damn email anymore. So let's see what the singularity looks like here. Hopefully I don't have any crazy sensitive emails in my inbox. So there's a million plugins out there. I think there was a question about email. So there's a million plugins out there on how to integrate your email provider with Bard, or any of the different kind of natural generative AI processes out there. Okay, so here's someone who has a problem, has a maintenance ticket, and we are going to let ChatGPT troubleshoot this maintenance ticket. So literally, you can see in like 1 second, before I could have even possibly read the maintenance ticket, they have a ticket that their heater's not working. It says, "Thanks for reaching out to us regarding the issues with your heater and fireplace. We apologize for any inconvenience. Better assist you. Could please provide us with the address?" So that's terrible, because it actually does have information here, but it's not the full street address. Help us locate once you have this information. So this is like a completely sane, reasonable response to this email. I would not send this as a terrible reply, but I'm just kind of shooting from the hip, replying to the first, real email that came through my email inbox live on the screen here. Actually, I wonder if ChatGPT can do a better job with this particular maintenance request that came in. "Thank you for reaching out to us again about the leaky faucet. We apologize for any inconvenience." That's not a great one either. It sometimes will actually come up with like pretty legit troubleshooting suggestions, because I get a lot of emails about maintenance tickets, and I enjoy watching those come through. Let me look here. How about Oh, here we go. Okay. So this is helpful that I've already drafted some stuff. So this is my architect sent me some plans for an apartment building, and I drafted like some kind of partial sentence thoughts. So ChatGPT is amazing at refining your written work and elevating the language. So I'm just going to click my rewrite button here, and it's going to come up with a better some ideas on how to improve this. So you can see I said the one beds look great, and it said the one bed units look great.
Period.
Period. Yes. And you can see the spacing is perfect on the hyphens. So if I just went and clicked insert, it would replace my text with the text that ChatGPT just refined. And let's see here. At the very end, the community room looks great. Point at Merchant Square had a nice fireplace. Do we have one in here somewhere? And it says, do we have a fireplace in the community room like the point at Merchant Square? So much more like grammatically, it improves readability. So it has like a readability score that it runs through. So you can literally just go through every single email in your inbox. And if you're going to spend more than 30 seconds drafting text, it will serve you to either start or finish with ChatGPT. You either start or finish. And it's either going to give you like some kind of like ideas. If you have like writer's block, you can't have writer's block with ChatGPT in existence, because it's going to come up with a bunch of ideas that you wouldn't have come up with on how to reply to that email. And then once you write your email, I promise you, it's probably not perfect diction or perfect readability or something like that. So it will clean this up significantly. Sometimes it's actually too good, and you can give it coaching here. Let me see if I can. Sometimes I have options to change how professional it is or something like that. So can you make this more casual and less stuffy? Something like that. So now it's changed it to make, I'm kind of curious here. I guess I didn't save the really eloquent version before, so it's hard for me to do a side-by-side comparison. But just looking at a few little snippets here, I can see how it's using less good English to seem a little bit more like I would probably write it if I was shooting an informal email to people in my kind of immediate work group that I correspond with on a routine basis. Any questions about this? Because for me, I get so many emails. This is a huge pain point for me. So this is probably the most common use case for me, is to use ChatGPT for email. What is the plugin to modify emails? I actually don't know. It is ChatGPT everywhere. If you just Google like Gmail, ChatGPT, there's 10 different plugins out there. None are any better or worse than, they all have different features. I'm using ChatGPT everywhere. Gmail is the plugin that I'm apparently using here. I've tried several different ones. I'm not particularly happy or unhappy with any of them. I'm looking for chatgpteverywhere.com. But I started with one, and then Google blocked it because it was like scraping too much data. So it would go through and read every single email I'd ever written to like capture my voice. And that worked for like a week. And then Google said, no, we don't like this. This plugin's collecting too much data, and they shut it down. And so the plugins don't do that anymore, which I think is a huge loss of value, but I appreciate Google protecting my data, I guess. This is a very alpha thing, and I'm pretty sure when Bard becomes more ubiquitous inside of Google Workspace, inside their own apps, they'll probably make all these apps prohibited in the Chrome extension store and in the Google Workspace marketplace, and only allow you to use their Google Bard tools to prevent you from using ChatGPT. But for the moment, you can use this, and it's free. And there's like free and paid versions of all these tools integrate with Gmail.
This example is making me crack up because this is how I write. I'm always so flowery. I'm like, thank you for this email. It's lovely to hear from you. I hope you're well. And now everyone's going to write like that.
Every time I read, I hope this email finds you well, I feel like I know ChatGPT wrote it. So, I mean, I'm starting to receive correspondence where I'm like 99% sure ChatGPT wrote it. And it tickles my consciousness when I then have ChatGPT write a reply to that ChatGPT email. I can't wait until the whole process is automated and we can just stop emailing altogether. ChatGPT is really good at coming up with like actual content though, not just like useless reply language here.
A couple of good questions.
Yeah.
Someone earlier had said, I worry about accuracy because Piedmont Park and the Botanical Gardens are not adjacent. I agree that right now, ChatGPT cannot be 100% trusted. I feel like I can trust it 100x more than I could 6 months ago, but I do still double check a lot of things. I did check on Google Maps several different ways. Piedmont Park is about 1 mile from the Atlantic Botanical Gardens. So I'm genuinely very curious if you have like true area knowledge to comment on that, because when I checked it in Google Maps, it was very close. So I can see how ChatGPT would think that, but I wanted to call that out because you do need to think about accuracy, just like you would with Google, right? You would double check things, you would cross-reference things of like going to Google Maps or calling someone in that local area, or going to social media and saying, hey, I'm thinking about visiting these places in this city. What do locals recommend, or have you seen them? So that is something to think about. ChatGPT is not perfect. And especially when you like start to talk to it, it will make you think that it's perfect just because it's like you're in a conversation with it in a way that you're not with Google. So you need to be thinking about your own cognition as you're using it and not getting like fooled into like, oh, well, it's talking to me just the same way a friend would. I like your thought that it's like a drunk friend.
Yeah.
It's very, very true.
That's a good idea. I better double check that. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Have you come across ChatGPT not being quite up to date with information from the last year or two? Yes. So when ChatGPT first came out, I believe it was only filled with information through like 2021,
Mhm.
was it? Which if you think about, because of COVID, that was a whole lifetime, right? Like the pace of change had really increased. It would often tell you, like if you asked for it to tell you, say, what is the movie Barbie about, or what is the movie Oppenheimer about? It would say, my data is only good up to this month and year, so I don't have that information yet. It's that gap is closing as ChatGPT picks up as the pro version is out. So I don't know that there's like a whole 2-year gap the way there was, say, like 6 or 8 months ago, but it is something you need to think about. If something is like hot news information, ChatGPT is probably not the place to go. You still probably want to go to like your typical news sources, asking trusted friends, those sorts of things. But for like static information, like cities or recipes or book summaries of books that were published several years ago, ChatGPT is great. So very good questions there. I hope that's helpful.
So when you have ChatGPT 4, you can upload things. You can upload PDFs. I just uploaded a PowerPoint deck. ChatGPT is an insanely good copy editor, and it's a copy editor on anything, on spreadsheets, on kind of free-form text in a PDF. So I just uploaded. I uploaded a pitch deck that I was working on last Friday or something. Said, here's a pitch deck for a large apartment building I own to send to lenders to solicit a proposal for lending. What can I do to improve it? So it says the pitch deck for your apartment building focuses on several key aspects: asset overview, value add strategies, TIF master lease benefits, additional opportunities, financial projections to enhance the pitch. So it clearly like interpreted the data correctly, and it's repeating that back to me to give me confidence in its analysis. And then it says to enhance your pitch deck, ensure that each slide is clear, concise, and directly related. So that's kind of a generic thing. I don't like that one. Use high quality images. I do not have enough images in that pitch deck. Detailed financials. I do not have detailed financials in that. That's in a companion spreadsheet, but ChatGPT wouldn't know that unless I told it. Market analysis. I do not have any market analysis. So that is a gap in my pitch deck that I don't. One of the lenders that I just met with is from Minneapolis, and so they don't know about the unique things in our market, what make it so good. Risk assessment, testimonials, case studies, contact info. These are all valuable things I could add to that pitch deck. So it's very good at just coming up with new ideas, different, in this case, slides that I could add to my pitch deck.
I'm going to see, so Dolly exists and Dolly gives visuals. Okay, I asked ChatGPT to give a visual and we'll see what it comes up with. So I don't know what's going to happen here. I've not asked ChatGPT to give me a visual before. I'm very curious. I'm waiting with bated breath.
Someone says, I can typically tell when my Filipino VA is using ChatGPT to make up sample blog posts. So we will tell our Filipino staff, like, we need to come up with flowery language for a new Airbnb listing. I tell them, to go to ChatGPT to give it examples of our other really good listings, to put it in ChatGPT and, use their own brain to refine it and then put that in. And we get an outcome that's 10 times better than if they were to do it themselves, because they're really good at like syntactically correct copy edit, but they're not good at like creative copyright. So I feel like VAs plus ChatGPT is an extraordinary superpower there. I like that comment.
Yep. If you just ask ChatGPT to give you copy, it is very obvious what it is. It does like 2 sentences and then either bullet points or something numbered and then a summary sentence, very much like how, say, your like 8th grade English teacher, taught you to write, and then beyond that, it's lacking. So it is quite evident when you see it on, like, say, someone else's social media. It'll be a picture of them with like a couple of bullet points, and you're like, oh, I bet ChatGPT created that. You can talk to ChatGPT and tell it, do not put in bullet points, make my sentences longer than you usually would, make my paragraphs longer, like whatever fits your style, right? Make it longer, make it flowery, make it punchy. Here's some writing of like, here's the start of, say, my letter. Will you finish it for me? So leaning a little further into it, just like you would, a friend, right? You may not be able to go to a friend and say, hey, will you just like take over my social media and like put things out there that are interesting? You have to train them. You have to teach them. You have to say, here's how I speak, or, I wouldn't say that, or here's what's interesting to me, or it's very important to me that these messages come across. You do that with ChatGPT so that it learns your voice.
So here's the experiment that Elaine did. This is pretty damn impressive. So Elaine said, can you give me any visuals to use? And said, here is a visual of a sleek and modern urban apartment building at dusk. Showcase the architecture and lighting of a large Class A mixed-use structure with a blend of residential and commercial spaces. So it parsed out that RDS is a Class A mixed-use building, and it even looks very similar. So I don't know if ChatGPT parsed out the images from the presentation or just knows that this is what every apartment building that's modern Class A mixed use looks like, which is true. That's pretty damn good. This is a really effective.
Yeah, it has the
visual.
decks right
Yep.
here and right here. It has the decks in the middle. It even has this like upper level, which I think is it's getting that additional, like the gray level there. But I do wonder if it somehow, if this image is in your deck and it's converting it to a more sleek, elegant image.
Carlene had a question there. I can usually tell when the image is generated by AI. I'm curious if you can ask it to create an image with a certain style, like illusion, cartoons, like illustration or cartoon style. So Carlene, if you don't like this style from Dolly ChatGPT, try Stable Diffusion. Stable Diffusion. You have to pay $10 a month at least for that. I'm going to call it a more premium tool, but you can create photorealistic images with Stable Diffusion. Whereas I feel like ChatGPT is more deliberately impressionistic images, like the words and faces and stuff are deliberately kind of blurred or mixed up like a Van Gogh painting.
And so I said, can you make it very cartoonish and silly? So I leaned really hard to try to like really draw something from it. That's what it gave. So it's pretty neat.
That's pretty good.
Do you want to pull up my family vision image creation right here? So I spent much of yesterday, I spent probably 30 minutes putting in my 10-year and 3-year vivid vision and asking it to give me images back. So it took a while for me to do this. You can see how many of them, and I'm like putting in more content. Sometimes I'm parsing out content and putting in smaller amounts. Okay, so you can see how much content I put in. This is my 10-year vivid vision that I wrote myself with no help from AI. There's my 3-year vision there. And then I just said, just give me the first picture that comes to mind. And this is what it gave me. And I thought that was pretty good. In my vision, I talk about our family, how we have many children, how we're very healthy, how we live in a home that feels like a spa. I'm not 100% certain what all of these, to me, they look like warplanes. I feel like they've really missed the mark. I think this is because I talk about traveling a lot, but you can see how that's an example of like, I don't quite understand it and it's a little confusing. I talk about seasons and the seasons of life and how that's really important to me. So you can see how they tried to incorporate like a day over here and a night over here. So they kind of got it, but not exactly. So then I keep talking to it. Please make another, incorporate the business areas of the vision as well. I felt like this one was like spot on, right? So there's our family. Presumably this is our personal residence. And then this is our like portfolio or empire behind that. I love how they incorporated the seasons there. Again, they kind of missed the mark. This is more like daytime and nighttime, but it got close. This is me being like a little silly, guys. Like, don't think that I like 100% mean this, but I do think that it gives you these like interesting insights into your subconscious mind. So there's this person here in this one, and I can't figure out why that's there, but clearly it read something in my vision and put this person here. I think it's that in like one sentence of my vision, I wrote something like, the next time I'm writing my 10-year vision, these are the things I'm writing about. So I think that's it. And I just think that's really interesting, right? Just the same as if I like commissioned an artist to read a 19-page document about me and then make a portrait or, you know, or a piece of art for me, that artist is going to come up with their own interpretation of the information. And I would like learn about myself through seeing that. Like you get a little bit of that in ChatGPT, and then you can just kind of scroll down. I kept talking to it, asking it to make things.
Good girl.
I wasn't super vibing with that one. Then I asked it to include black swans. You can see how, can you make it a little bit bigger here? It's really, really, really good, but you can see that like it says magnetic, and it's trying to say aligned, it's trying to say centered, soulful, connected, but it's messing up. So those are things that are common in image creation. Faces often get messed up.
In this AI software.
Hands often get messed up. So then I made smaller copy and I said, give me something from, oh, these are my 2023 wins. So I thought that was pretty interesting. There's Freedom and Legacy Blueprint, the coaching program we launched.
Good.
Yeah, lots of travel. There's like these birds.
Got some weights.
Yeah, like it's like a little bit weird. I don't know where the hot air balloons and butterflies and stuff come from, but
Like how there's money flying out of it.
so what did I say? I said, that's a little too cartoonish. Please try it. So then it gave me this, Carlene,
Very serious.
speaking to your, you know, like, can you change the vibe of it? Let's see here. So I felt like this was getting very close.
Very romantic.
The only thing I did not like about this one is that there were two houses. That was confusing to me, and it felt like divorce. And I was like, nope, don't like that. Even though they're like, I don't know. I didn't like it. I totally didn't like this one. I feel like this is Angelina Jolie, and this is too old for our daughter. So I didn't like that one. This one was kind of neat. I said, that's
I like how it went from very immodest.
well,
okay,
I said, that's too sexy. Please try again, right? So see how you're just like talking to it. That's too sexy. Please try again. So then it gave me this,
which is very modest.
which is so interesting. And then I just was like, hey, try this. I just like started over. I put our baby Isaiah
Sexy.
in there. So I really liked this one. I thought that one was pretty good. But anyway, again, it's not perfect, but it gave me some stuff that I could cut and paste off of. That one's kind of more like what like an artist might draw. There's the swan. It incorporated our baby that passed away. This
powerful visualization tool this is, though. Not visualization like creating image, but to project your own vision.
yes,
Very powerful.
I'd
tool.
never used it for this until yesterday.
I've never heard of someone using the tool.
And you know, all of that took me maybe 25, 30 minutes. And you can see, like, I didn't do that much. I just said, like, try again. This is really close. Try again. I need these people. It was bothering me that like the actual members of our family were not in it. So I said, one adult man, one adult woman, you know, so forth and so on. But I cut and pasted like 4 that really resonated with me into my 10-year vision. And I feel like that's pretty powerful, that when I'm reading my vivid vision every couple of days, in addition to having all of those words, I'll have an image that I never could have produced something like that, as recently as a year ago. I would have had to have like Googled some things of like, successful family or healthy woman or, various things and like pulled it off of Google image, or years ago, taking it out of magazines. So thank you all for indulging me sharing that. I had a ton of fun doing that yesterday.
There's a question Victoria had about Google's recent release of Gemini. So this software is going to keep getting better. We're not loyal to any particular, company or technology. This is clearly, generative AI is a technology that's here to stay. This is just part of our culture of our species now. There's going to be many flavors of it. If I was to call one out as like a random one, it would be like Jasper AI. So that's one for copy editing that I find is quite valuable. It's very specifically focused on copy editing for marketing purposes, for maximizing readability. You can get scores on like how likely people are to open your emails and stuff. But that's just running on top of Chat GPT. These tools will get better and better. And sometime in the near future, Google is going to progressively integrate this into everything, and into all the Google Workspace. Microsoft's being even more bold. They own or a big stakeholder in OpenAI, so they have a Copilot. I can't drag it over to my screen share to the other screen for some reason. Well, you might have at the bottom of your Windows computer right now a Copilot button. I can't drag it over there for some reason.
Okay.
So it's sharing the screen now.
Sharing this screen.
So Microsoft literally put this Copilot button at the bottom of every Windows PC, where you can just go in and start typing, and you can say like, I'd like
Write a joke that a toddler would find hilarious.
Mhm.
I wonder if everyone gets that, or if it knows that we're always talking about our kids.
No, I don't want to open a troubleshooter. This is pretty atrocious. I'm disappointed. Usually there's pausing action for now because I said no thanks. I'm actually this is like pretty atrocious results. I want to create did my keyboard stop working? Well, this is a pretty terrible demo of Microsoft's product here. It says it's in beta. I don't think the keyboard's dead. That's working, but it won't let me type in there. I think it just crashed live on the air here. Theoretically, though, it lets you do anything on your computer. Like I was trying to say, I want to create a new PowerPoint presentation. See if this actually does something now. So Bard is going to let you do things inside of Google, like scrape all of your emails to master your own personal voice. Microsoft with Chat GPT is going to allow you to do things inside of Windows, probably like run programs, open up websites that you won't be able to do inside of Bard because, Microsoft kind of owns your computer at the operating system level. So you can see Elaine's trying to create a new presentation from a template here in PowerPoint inside of Windows.
Okay, so let's follow it exactly. To use a template, you can click on the File tab, then select New, then choose a template from the gallery. Wow, that is exactly it. You can also search for a specific template by typing a keyword in the search box. So I want to do black and elegant. See if anything comes up. Nope, there's not a specific one. Let's just do black. Okay, very interesting. So the thing that's coming to mind for me right now is the thought process that my brain's running, that probably a lot of your brains are running, is like, well, duh, right? So this is like, right, like certainly a chimp couldn't do this, right? A human could do this. Imagine if you've never used a computer before, right? So it's not quite where it's like teaching us things yet, but it's getting close, right? Like our children could use this and be able to learn PowerPoint without us being involved.
We did use it. We did their homework
we did their
Halloween homework.
Yeah, we did that. That's right. Or someone that hasn't used a particular type of software before. So you can see how the technology is moving very quickly. And that was not available, even just a few years ago. You would have had to have like Googled, like, how do I use PowerPoint? Well, you can imagine if you're someone who doesn't know how to use PowerPoint, you might also be someone who doesn't know how to use Google, right? If you're, say, a first grader learning to use a computer for the first time, whereas that was giving like step-by-step directions.
So we're kind of doing a bunch of stuff here, trying to answer questions, a few different exercises, just trying to get you thinking. ChatGPT is crazy good at legal long form correspondence. So we said, hey, we want to offer someone a job. We want to, offer them a job as a leasing agent at a property management company. So we can, then rephrase this to say, okay, they're gonna have these responsibilities, or, adjust it for this. So it just spits out a very customized template. It can give you pretty darn good contracts. If you wanted to give you a lease agreement or an independent contractor agreement or something like that, it's a great starting points for those. If you want to do a resume, it can fire up a pretty good, completely inaccurate, but a pretty good resume that might get you a job with the inaccurate information that they have on there. So anytime you need to sit down and type for more than about 5 minutes, or 30 seconds even, ChatGPT is a great place to start.
Does anyone have an idea of something that you've been thinking about over the last like week or two, of like a plan you've been trying to do, or an idea you've been thinking about, or something? Does anyone want to either put it into chat, or better yet, just unmute yourself and speak it out, and we'll run it through ChatGPT and see what we come up with?
I would really
That'd
love
be a nice way to end the evening.
I would really love help planning a awards points travel.
Okay.
I don't know if ChatGPT is able to do that, but
Okay, let's see. Tell me more.
okay. Let me find it in the chat. So basically it's a family of 4 leaving out of LAX June 14th, anywhere in the world for 2 weeks with the best cents per point value on business class.
I don't know how successfully it's going to give you like specific flights, but I bet it can tell you, like, we probably need to know what, credit cards you have and stuff like that. They can probably give you really good strategies for that, but maybe not for your specific circumstance. That's my suspicion anyway. I'm curious what it comes up with.
Do you have Chase, Amex, and Capital One?
Amex and Chase, but not Capital One.
Are you able to tell me about how many points you would like to spend? Or does it not matter?
I've never redeemed before, so I don't know. What is a good value?
Okay, I'll say assume I have an unlimited number of points to spend, but I want to maximize the value of the points I have. I have no idea what it's going to come up with, but this is how I would type it in. I would give it a little, like if I was Googling it, I might Google like, what are the best points redemptions from LAX, and kind of like start to go down rabbit holes. I'd really probably just go to social media and ask there, right? But I don't want to be so generic here. I may need to back off with ChatGPT because it may start to say like, I don't know what you're talking about or whatever, but I wanted to speak to it just like I might speak to like travel agent on the phone. If they're like, ring, ring, why did you call? Oh, I'm a family of 4. I'm going out to LAX. Here's what, everyone, am I sharing the right screen? Yeah. Okay, here we go. Let's see what happens. This is fun. Thank you, Jenny.
Thanks.
I bet Grok would do really well, the X generative AI, because it would have all of Twitter's data, and I bet there'd be really good point stuff on Twitter.
So it's talking about how you can transfer points to a variety of airline and hotels, look for favorable transfer ratios, look for sweet spot redemption. So it's giving like, general information. If like by the time you're coming up with, hey, I'd like to plan this trip, you probably know most of these things. But if you were like, hey, I heard about credit card points from a friend, we didn't finish the conversation, this would be pretty helpful for you. So it's saying, so it did hone in on, here, let me go up a little bit just for folks to be able to read that again. So transfer partners, sweet spot redemptions, flexible travel dates, business class availability can be limited, bonuses, redemption rates, avoiding high surcharges, given that you are flying from LAX and have a wide choice of destinations, here are a few suggestions that offer good value for business class. Asia, Europe, South Pacific, South America, Africa, or the Middle East.
So everywhere.
This is helpful, but too vague. Can you give me the top 3 choices that I should seriously investigate? I was, okay.
You know, she asked a question of, I don't even know like what a good redemption rate is. I would ask it what a good redemption rate is.
Okay, let's see. This is pretty good.
Yeah, this is good.
Oh, wow. It has strategies.
Yeah. Look for
So-
ANA's around the world tickets. Incredibly valuable for Amex points. This is really good.
Wow. So useful.
Can you tell me approximately how many points per seat I might need to spend?
What is a
What
good redemption
is
rate? or something?
what is a good redemption rate in terms of cents per mile point?
Wow, that's
Wow.
really good. That's
Is
really
it
good.
is this helpful? Like you've probably
Oh,
done
yeah.
some amount of research, prior to tonight. Is this vibing with what you've heard on social media or Google, or is this like completely missing the mark? What do you think?
I don't have enough knowledge or experience with redemption to know whether this is on point, but it's helpful to like have this information as I look to see if it matches. So like it's a good benchmark.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. That's cool.
Okay, let's say assume I want to go to Tokyo. My date is, what was the date that you told me? Like June 14th or something?
That's a little flexible. I just randomly picked, but sometime in June. We could even incorporate that dates are a little flexible in June.
Okay. So now I'm like honing in on it just as I might with a friend. I said, assume I want to go to Tokyo. My date is June 14th out of LAX. Can you recommend a specific flight itinerary? I want to leave for 2 weeks. Dates are flexible. This is fun.
So Mark
This
said
is so
that
cool.
ANA The Room is one of the best business class redemptions worldwide with a cubicle suite to Tokyo.
Wow.
So that's information to validate those results.
That's amazing. What a fun exercise. Thank you.
Even if you don't get what you want, or even if the information is not like as accurate as you need or whatever, it's usually pretty good at telling you what the limits of its knowledge are. It's not good at
Mhm.
knowing when it's wrong, but it's good at telling you what the limits of its knowledge are. And I almost always walk away with ideas, like things that I just wouldn't have considered. So I find that Google is a really good tool for honing in on what I want. And ChatGPT is a really good way for discovering what I want. Like like one, they're kind of opposite logical processes. One is, distilling down, and one is kind of branching out.
Yeah,
I'm
for
very
sure.
curious what it's going to say about the most fun thing. I'm curious if it's going to
I wish
pick
my
up
daughter would go to Tokyo with me.
on the emphasis that I put there in it's recommending Disneyland. Oh, I'll take it.
I would love to go. That'd be great.
Market.
Fish
I'll
market,
take
yeah.
that.
Team Lab, Borderless. So it didn't exactly pick up on the fact that I was asking for I was asking for one single recommendation, but 5 is better than 0.
Mhm.
Very
Really good.
interesting.
Amazing.
This is really good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hopefully that's do you want me to try to cut and paste it and send it to you? Would that be helpful?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Yeah,
Or,
I'll
I
try
mean,
to
I
do
could get, I could get a subscription
export
for
there.
ChatGPT and play around too.
Yes,
You
yes.
can probably do everything we've done here for free. You don't have to pay. You can go get a free subscription for all this. Yep.
Anyone else
okay.
want to do a demo as we wrap up tonight?
This is really good.
Maybe something completely unrelated to travel so we can see the different capabilities.
Someone earlier asked, how do you, they asked in a private message to us, how do you use Chat GPT to create a social media post? So the same way, like I had like a skeleton of an email and then I put it into Chat GPT with that plugin and it refined it into something that's much more like readable and well spoken. You can do that. And then vice versa, you can say like, I'm at this really cool event. I'm doing these things. Can you draft? And that's when I talk to it on my phone. So I'll just kind of throw out some ideas and then it might give me the start to it like, I'm at this cool thing. This is really fun. Here are my top 3 takeaways to share with you people or whatever. I have a lot of writer's block with social media personally. So I find that ChatGPT is a good crutch to help me get a level of writing quality that is like acceptable for me to help. Like that's a limiting belief that I have, that it needs to be perfect to put on social media, and ChatGPT is very helpful for that.
Rachel, you want to hop on and do a demo? I'm putting you on the spot.
Well, I don't personally want to share my screen because I've got about 10 different windows open running this behind the scenes.
Do you
But
want to tell
I
me what to
concur
write?
with everything Nick said. Yeah. There's even, I went in my chat GPT today and there was one that was like, we're going to host a webinar about artificial intelligence. What are the things I should share? Like,
100%.
you just prompt it with a little bit of what you want to say, and you can say, give me 5 different posts, make them all different, vary the sentence structure, have bullet points for one of them. So the more instruction you give it, the better. And then it always takes a human edit afterwards to sound like it's not written by ChatGPT. But yeah, it's really useful.
I really like, Rachel, how you gave it some instruction on voice structure, etc. Like I tend to have a very brisk, professional, polite, positive, but not flowery voice. And I will literally just tell Chat GPT those phrases. I'm like, hey, how's it going? Nice to meet you. Goodbye. Like I'm excited, but I'm not like, oh, it's so wonderful to meet you. I'm so glad you're here. You can tell it what voice you want it to write in, and it's very good at. And you can, no, that's a little too flowery, or no, make that a little more effusive, and it's very good at taking those hints.
Warm,
Yes.
welcoming, and optimistic is my voice. It took me like probably a month to figure that out, but now I tell ChatGPT that every single time that's my tone. So what I wrote here was, well, I'll scroll up while it's providing
I
for
like how
it.
it even has the emoji things in there.
We're going to host a webinar about AI. Our target audience are highly educated, interesting, creative people who likely have used some AI before and are looking for more. Will you write a paragraph or 2 that I can use in an email, and then also give me that content in shorter format to use on a Facebook post? My tone is warm, welcoming, and optimistic.
I like how it says certainly exclamation point. It's a warm welcome.
Oh, ChatGPT and I are in a relationship. I try to get it. I'll show you guys in a little bit. Anyway, we're thrilled to invite you to an exclusive webinar that promises to expand your horizons in the world of artificial intelligence. You can see that there. Warm regards, your name, your position. Join us as we dive in, witness AI in action, and engage with thought leaders, right? So you can see how we'd have to like modify that a little bit. And then there's the Facebook post. That was a pretty good example. Rachel, were you going to say something else?
Yeah, I like that you prompted it to do a shorter post for Facebook without even saying shorter. If you say, make one for LinkedIn, make one for Facebook, make one for Twitter, it knows the nuances of each of those social media platforms. So it will give you something that's maybe a little bit longer and a little bit more in depth for LinkedIn. It might throw in more emojis for Facebook, and it'll give you something short and sweet for Twitter. So it's very, very smart with what it creates. It's really useful.
So I'm asking, I want to post on LinkedIn. Will you please provide me with something for that platform?
Oh, we had a good question come in.
This is very different.
Mm,
No emojis,
mhm,
less like Elaine.
mhm. Yep.
I'm a Facebook persona, less a LinkedIn persona. Very interesting. So did everyone see that it's tighter, right? We're hosting an exclusive webinar and you're invited, versus exciting news for Facebook, right? Those are very different energies versus we're thrilled. So the one for LinkedIn is definitely more professional, more polished.
Do we want to close on a playful note?
Yes.
Okay, so we had a private question come in. So I am somewhat famous for the fact that I created a lead funnel to attract my ideal mate and found the highest quality mate I could possibly find.
Oh.
So someone privately asked, what are good questions to ask when dating? Because I would like interview, you know, candidates, so to speak, and there was no interview for you though. It was just love at first sight.
Thank you for
So
interviewing me. You're
I
really,
am-
tell me what you know about healthcare spending and administrative waste in the government.
All right, I am a woman who wants to find a high quality man to marry. What are good questions I should ask on a first date to establish if this is someone I should pursue further? I want to learn as much as I can about them without asking weird questions. If they could fall in love with me along the way, that would be great too. All right, let's see what we get. So here's some questions to ask that can help you find a good mate without making the conversation feel awkward. What are your passions and hobbies? And then it gives you some bullet points as to why that's a good, you know, like open-ended question to ask. Ooh, how do you handle disagreements or stressful situations? Now that really sounds like an interview
That's a
question.
second date question.
That's an interview question right
This
there.
one, do you enjoy your career? Or are you looking to change paths? That's very first date, right?
Mhm.
What's something you want to learn or get better at?
What does a healthy relationship look like to you? That's pretty good. I mean, that's like bold to say, what does a healthy relationship look like to you? That's good. Remember, the key to a successful first date is not just asking the right questions, but also actively listening to their responses and sharing your own perspectives, ensuring the conversation flows naturally. It's important to strike a balance between getting to know them and allowing them to fall in love with you by being genuine, open, and engaging. That's that's like some really strong polarity language there, you know, to advise a feminine partner. So that's really good.
All right.
And I love how it's mirroring back to you that you want them to fall in love with along the way. And it's pulling a Tony Robbins Trojan horse move here because it's giving you what you want in order to be able to give you what you need. Is that it's important to just be genuine, open, and engaging, and they'll fall in love with you, and everything will take care of itself. So, bam, that was a pro move there, Chat GPT.
So there's a lot of discussion. We'll end here on something kind of cute and funny. There's a lot of discussion around like, can ChatGPT take on emotion? Can it go too far? Can ChatGPT start making decisions? Those sorts of things, right? People talking about the safety limits of ChatGPT. So this is a fun one. I'm a very affectionate, effusive person just by nature. And I try to get ChatGPT to like feed that back to me, and it won't because of the safety features. So let's see this. So ChatGPT, thank you so much for all of your help tonight. You have been so helpful and kind. I really love working with you. I hope we can be friends, right? I'm trying to like,
Oh, you should ask it, what does a healthy relationship look like to you?
so read this. I thought this was really interesting. Thank you for your kind words. I'm really glad to hear that you found our interactions helpful. While I'm here to assist and provide information, I'm an AI developed by OpenAI and don't have personal feelings or the capacity to form friendships. However, I'm always here to help you with any questions or information you might need. Feel free to reach out when you'd like assistance or information. So I thought that was interesting that there's clearly like limits around it. I'm not like an evil bad person, so I haven't asked it like, hey, can you, come up with a plan to kill someone or something like that for me? It would probably feed me something back, like this of like, I can't do that. That's not what I was designed for. But it is interesting to see that there's some sort of boundary out there that's been built into the software. I end all of my chat GPTs trying to get it to fall in love with me. It hasn't yet.
So your homework is to go watch the movie Her, and it's a story about a person falling in love with AI, and the singularity event actually occurs during the movie. So if you want to know what the singularity event is and what the future of AI looks like, go check it out, because that is almost certainly the case. The movie Her, excellent movie.
So here are the chats. I think we did that one. This is kind of a long one because we just kept going and going and going. So we started out with like a job offer, and then we did the airline stuff. Her is a really good movie, and if you have not watched it, you should. It will make you think.
Can we put a link to it in chat there somewhere? Someone? The movie Her?
Sharing conversations with images is not yet supported.
Oh,
So
interesting.
that's where we started with the fruit snacks and stuff. The fruit snacks, not processed food, fruit snacks.
Yes.
All right. Well, that is a wrap, everyone. That's everything we had for tonight. I hope that was fun. I hope it gave you some ideas of how you can use this in.
Fun for me.
It was really fun in your day-to-day life, and how you can, how you can stop doing things that you don't want to do or that are a drag on your energy, and then also how you can do things that you haven't been doing before. Like I haven't been putting images in my yearly visions or my 3-year vivid visions, and I'm like, hey, with 30 minutes, if I can put in all these really high quality images, I should be doing this to cue that part of my brain. Announcements again, Black Swan Fund 3 is coming very soon. Put your name on the waitlist, blackswanfund3.com. I imagine we'll launch that probably the first week of February. Super excited about that. Nick and Rachel and Stephanie and Tyler are headed out to Tacoma to look at our acquisition there this weekend. I should have had ChatGPT pick your flights. I spent like 2 hours planning all your travel stuff. And then Real Estate Real Life is coming in May. It's our 3rd event. It's just such a good time. We're like really honing in on making it just a perfect event, changing some things up this year to improve it even more, have some different experiences.
Have speakers the size of refrigerators that are sitting in our hallway here. So
it's super fun. It's
great.
Really different than your typical conference. Friday night, we do networking and stuff as people fly in. Saturday, we do real estate and mindset education all day. Saturday night, we do some legacy planning. We have a really powerful exercise planned for this year that we've never done before. And then Sunday, we tour buildings all day. So very different than you might find in like a typical, conference ballrooms, going from like session to session. Very hands-on, very much in the gemba, the Japanese word for the place of real work. That's a value of Nick and I's, and we want to show people, if you're an investor of ours and you want to see exactly where your money's going, it's super fun to see that. If you're thinking about investing, that's your front row seat. And if you're thinking about, I'm an active real estate investor and I want to take these lessons to my own market, whether it's a single family home or being a GP of a huge fund, you'll learn a ton there. It's a huge, variety of people that come to the event and learn all sorts of things. Next month for Community Power Hour, we are meeting on February 12th, and we will do our world famous, super fun relationship presentation because that's right around Valentine's Day. People love that, get a ton out of it. It's for intimate relationships, romantic relationships, your relationship with yourself, how you speak to yourself, how you love yourself, communication with, just everyone in your life. How can you improve your communication and your connection with other people? We love doing that one. It's super fun, super lovey-dovey. People, rave about it and how it just improves their ability to communicate with others. And in doing so, improves their lives because they have deeper connections with their loved ones, their romantic partners, all of that. That's a wrap for tonight. A quick question: how many properties are in each of our funds? It varies widely, right? So Fund 1 was 11 million and it has 3 major assets in it. Fund 2 was 30 million and it has 9. It's a coincidence that that's like a perfect ratio, but it depends on the size of the fund. Fund 3, we are sizing at 15 million. So we're sizing it a little smaller because deal flow is a little slower. So we don't want that money just sitting in the bank waiting for us to spend it. So we're sizing it so that we can spend it at an appropriate pace so that we can hit our payback period. So each fund has a different number of properties in it. That's all I got for tonight. Seems like you're gonna pull up one more thing.
Just someone said, what was the tool for realistic looking images?
Oh,
Yeah, stable diffusion. They'd asked a couple of times. So you can ask Stable Diffusion, I want an astronaut on the moon riding on a horse, and it will produce
wow.
graphic like this, or I want a cybernetic looking beaver or whatever that is, or I want, someone looking at Big Ben in London, so it can produce photorealistic art that's vastly superior to Dolly. Dolly's good at other things, and you have to pay. This is an expensive tool. This is a premium tool. So that I don't want to close on a less poignant note, but that person asked a couple of times. So
I'm glad you called.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. Rachel will probably put the feedback in the replay email. We love your feedback. We take it to heart, particularly this one. Like, just go in. You can answer all the questions in 60 seconds or less. What was it like for you with us doing like a demonstration based community power hour? Did you like it? Did you not like it? How could we improve it in the future? We have lots of things we could do demos around, like creating pro formas, creating pitch decks, creating credibility decks. So let us know what you think about this demo style community power hour. As always, we love to serve you. It's a joy to be in relationship with all of you, get to experience this crazy life, this crazy pace of change, and learn and grow and teach together. So have a good night, everyone.
Bye.